Hey there guys, how are you? Welcome back to another awesome video, and it's time for another top 10 video. And for today's top 10 list, I should have done this yesterday, but you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, I was doing better shit, honestly. I had better shit to do yesterday. I was rewatching The Mandalorian, I was binge watching Gargoyles, I was binge watching Friends, rest in peace in 2020, but I was binging those two shows, best shows of so far on Disney Plus. Mandalorian is the best thing that has happened this year in general, next to Joker. But we've already talked about the best movies of 2019. It's time to unveil the shit file that was the worst of this year, because 2019 was a good year for films, but fortunately, it also wasn't. It really wasn't. So, same rules apply here that I did for the best movies of 2019, which I will leave a link in the description. I will have an annotation somewhere around here, like during the video or at the end, something like that, whatever. Anyways, so I didn't see all the movies that came out this year. These are the ones that I saw. These are the ones that I either saw or I knew from the get-go. I was like, you know what? I just know this is just gonna suck. So let's just put this on the list right here, right now, and I'm not gonna even bother, because let's face it, some movies are not worth seeing if they're so bad that you know from the get-go. Just looking at a movie, you know, okay, this looks bad. I'm not gonna bother going to see it. So there's those movies like that. Like I said, I didn't get to see every movie that came out in 2019. These are the ones I think were the worst. As always, if there are some that I missed, let me know in the comments, and I'm gonna bring that up again later on. But let's just be done with it. Honestly, let's just be done. As I clearly am drinking not a product, so yeah. Number 10, What Men Want. So on paper, this would work because there was a movie called What Women Want, kind of the idea of what goes on in women's minds. This is kind of like the reverse of it, what goes on in men's minds in terms of that sort of thing. So it's kind of this had a good premise, but it just falls really flat. It's very just bland, forgetful, generic. I could barely remember anything that happened in this movie other than this woman listening to men's thoughts about. I don't remember what jokes they made about. Whether it was fart jokes, dick jokes, I don't know what jokes. They're so forgetful that it's just, I don't even remember anything from this movie other than it was just poorly written. It was just poorly, no. Anyways, number 9, Ugly Dolls. I get it. Ugly dolls are cute and everything, and they're like these little like merchandise things you buy. But to make this out of a movie, no. And I know there was probably a good cast behind it, but sometimes a good cast won't make a good movie, and that's the problem with this movie. Like, sure, you can take an ideal like object, like let's say something successful like the Lego movie. That did that idea of like, hey, we're gonna take this toy, this phenomenal like phenomenon, and make it a big movie. That's what Lego Movie did, and it was successful. Ugly Dolls was not. Number 8, Playing with Fire. This is just flat out stupid with its dumb poop jokes, its dumb fart jokes, its horrible slapstick. John Cena, I don't know what the hell you're doing, man, but I do believe you have potential to be a good actor, but I don't know if it's the films you've chosen or not. But I know John Cena could be a good actor. He's trying to. Like, I think the movie, I don't know if it came out this year or last year, was Blockers. I heard he was hilarious in that movie, and he's now reduced to a role like this. And you got Keegan-Michael Key in this, and I feel bad for the guy because the dude has great comedic talent, and he's definitely a comedic actor I would like to see more of, and I'd like to maybe personally work with. Not anything special, but one of those actors that think would be fun to work with in a comedy or just something interesting for him. And the problem is right now he just kind of went from slump to slump to slump, and I feel bad for these two actors. And the fact that they were given such a ridiculous premise, just why? And this movie's just basically John Cena with his shirt off, and no one really wants to see that. Okay, I don't care. Like, not, I'm just saying this because I'm straight and I'm a dude, but no straight man wants to just keep seeing that. So yeah. Crap. Oh yeah, number 7, Banana Splits the movie. So I just seeing this premise and seeing this as a trailer and even just a few minutes of this movie just sounds very generic. Like very generic character, like human characters you could care less about. Very like flat, very one note dimensional. And they turned this weird little TV show that used to be a big, like I guess TV show during Hanna-Barbera when they did stuff like Space Ghost, Flintstones, Scooby-Doo, Earthworm Jim? Actually, I don't freaking remember if he had a TV show. Well, I think he did. I'm not sure. But Earthworm Jim, Grape Ape, Blue Falcon, and that dog sidekick, Jetsons, all those cartoons. And then they had these little characters called the Banana Splits. They're like these big mascots. And they turned this into a slasher movie. And it's kind of dumb, honestly. It's not a good slasher movie. And the fact they're basically taking something, I guess, not childish, but taking something sort of, something people love, and just doesn't, I can't put words on it because of how dumb it is. Sure, you could take something cute and innocent and make it darker and make it sort of like flip on your head, because let's face it, that's what happened with clowns, like in terms of just clowns in general, like the fact that we have It and we have the American Horror Story and etc. And you got things like Chucky that have turned something innocent into something completely like creepy. Those were successes. This is not. Number 6, Good Boys. This is just stupid. I'm sorry. These kids are just so cringy to me. That's all I can really say. It's just so cringe. I couldn't stand it, honestly. I get what they're trying to go for, little like younger like kids trying to learn what sex is, and sure that can be done funny because of things like looking at Google Images, Pornhub, all sorts of funny gimmicks and gags that you can have. Where like what kids do on the internet, and maybe poke fun of it. But the kids aren't making it for me because of how ridiculous the antics are, and they're just so cringy. I hate it, honestly. I can't. Because of the fact that they're doing things that you see in relevant in relevant this year, in terms of whether it's just society or just things that are going on in general. Like they're like, let's see what's hip and with the kids nowadays. What's hip and with it and everything they put in here, and it's just so stupid. I couldn't with these kid actors. I'm sorry. They probably can be good, but ugh. All right, nearing down a final 5 on my list, and it ain't gonna get any better. Number 5 of my list is Hellboy. This could have been good because you have David Harbour, who's coming off of Stranger Things. He's great. He's praised for Stranger Things. And on paper, and when I heard about this casting, I was kind of like, okay, it's not Perlman, it's not Ron Perlman, but I could get by it. I was a little bit curious to see where this would go. I was like, okay, this looks cool. This looks a little bit dark. I like his sort of edge to him. And then you see the movie, and it's missing the dark, it's missing the edge, it's missing the humor, it's missing everything that Guillermo del Toro did with the first 2 Hellboy movies. The mythos and just fun, but also dark of it all. And it's lacking energy, really. It kind of lacks color. It lacks very effort. The CG at times looks very poor, and just, question why it happened. And should we have gotten Hellboy 3? Probably. We probably should have. I never really thought about the idea of having Hellboy 3 because we're way past that time, but I think it would have been better than this. Number 4, Maleficent, Mistress of All Evil. Those you don't know, I've never said this before, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, well, not go out on a limb, but I'm going to straight up just be real with you guys. I hated Maleficent. I hated it. So the first movie I hated because just I hated things that it did and all sorts of weird things it tried to do. This one's even weirder. And the fact that this movie did poor in 2014, why do another sequel? And why do a sequel in the first place if something did so bad? It doesn't make sense, Disney. I don't get it, honestly. Sure, I get it, money, but if you know something is bad, why do another one and then make it even worse? This is more kookier, more stranger. It tries and do interesting ideas, but it just very like forgetful. Like you forget that, oh shit, they have this plot where all of a sudden there's these other like beings that look like Maleficent that have horns and have wings like her, and they try and make her a race, and it's like, where the hell did you come up with this? I don't understand what Disney was thinking. Maybe they were just on this train of like, we gotta keep these live action movies going. But I don't think this year was a good year for you, unfortunately. So maybe give it a break. And please, please don't do that live action Lilo and Stitch. I love Lilo and Stitch, and don't do that to me. Number 3, Kim Possible. The live action Kim Possible movie, don't bother watching. Just don't see it. If you love Kim Possible and you're a big fan of the show, don't bother. It has nothing like it whatsoever. I will give credit to the actor and actress that are playing Shigo and Draken, but they're not saving this movie. What's really poor is how the fact that your main titular character doesn't feel accurate. You can tell she's so different in her personality. At least Kim Possible has personality. This actress has nothing to her. It's so frustrating to see. And I'm sorry, sure, the one kid from Goldbergs is trying his hardest being Ron Stoppable, but I found him annoying. And let's not talk about Rufus, because that CGI just looks horrendous, and it almost looks like ass. So, yeah, poor adaptation. Let's just move on, because we're almost done with this, and I can finally say hallelujah. Number 2, Annabelle Comes Home. So, with Annabelle and The Conjuring, these 2 horror movies, I want to say real quick, is that they kind of brought back horror in a way, but at the same time, they sunk horror, because as they kept progressing their anthologies, they kept getting worse. And this one was the worst, because it's a typical bad, poor horror movie. And I put this at high number 2 because I'm just relieved this is the last installment of the Annabelle, I guess, trilogy, franchise, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I don't care anymore. First one was fine, and then after like a sequel or 2, just not even worth it. So, before I unveil my number 1 pick, here are a few honorable, but in this case, dishonorable mentions. Angry Birds 2. Angry Birds, kind of the first one, wasn't really as great. This one's even worse. Enough said. Dora the Explorer. Why the hell do this? Who asked for this? I'm sorry. There's probably people that enjoyed this. I thought this was just too stupid and just very, very silly. Not a good type of silly. Crawl. Crawl has a good idea involving like hurricanes and kind of like isolation, but it just felt like almost like Sharknado to me, and I hated all Sharknado movies. So that gives you an idea of how I felt about Sharknado films. This should give you an idea of how I feel about Crawl. Norman, damn it. Norm of the North 2. I'm not going to say the whole thing because it's not worth it. This was right from the start horrible back in 2016, the first Norm of the North. And you do another one, it's still poor. It's still as bad as the first one with the same poorly like executed plot and a very cliche story and very just ridiculous animation. Medea Family Funeral. Some people like the Medea movies. I can't really get behind them. It's not really been my thing. There might be some, but can't get behind them, honestly. I think they're just kind of too racial stereotypical. But then again, White Chicks kind of does that sort of ish. But we'll maybe talk about White Chicks another day on why it's kind of a different story. But Medea is no exception. So, yeah. Replicas. Replicas has a good premise, has a good idea, has Keanu Reeves. I mean, it's Keanu Reeves. I mean, the dude was Neo. You got Speed, you got Point Break, you got them. Obviously, I just said it already, but The Matrix, you got John Wick, you got Bill and Ted, not Johnny Mnemonic. I mean, I don't know about Johnny Mnemonic, but Devil's Advocate, really great Keanu Reeves movies, and even now he's in the Keanu science of doing like cameos and voice work, and I'm hyped for Cyberpunk. Hang on, I pre-ordered Cyberpunk, so they gave me a little card, so I'm hyped for Cyberpunk, and especially Keanu Reeves, but for a Keanu Reeves movie, it's just, this was ridiculous, and it didn't seem like it had a clear idea of what it wanted to do. It was just executed really bad, and I just can't. But we're here, folks. We can now kind of put these all to rest, bury them in the grave, and burn them, light them up, do whatever we gotta do to make sure that these never happen again. But most likely Hollywood's still going to do their worst. So, yeah. So, number one pick, my top 10 worst movies of 2019. I'm not going to give it a full drum roll because it doesn't deserve a full drum roll. So, XMen, Dark Phoenix. XMen has really had a good run with most of its movies. Unfortunately, it's had its bad ones, and there's even one of their bad movies or one of their worst films that is a guilty pleasure of mine. But anyways, it's got its ups and downs and hills and stuff like that. But the problem with this one is we knew from the start this was going to be horrible. Like, I wanted to take, you see this here? You see this? I wanted to take my adamantium claws and just stab it because of just how stupid it was. We knew from the start this was going to be a bad movie, and they're like, let's try and like basically retcon X-Men 3 because everyone hated X-Men 3, and it's like, yeah, so why try this again if you know that you see it's going to be bad? I get it. They were trying to make this big conclusion to the X-Men movies, and they did not end well over time. I mean, some people hated X-Men Apocalypse, but I will defend and say that one was a little bit better than clearly this movie, because there's not really, it just feels almost as worse as X-Men 3, because at least X-Men 3 you feel like they're trying something. Here you're like, everyone's just sitting here because we want to get through this movie. We want to be done. We want to be over. This is the end for our X-Men. Let's just be done and sit through this, like, these ridiculous writing and dialogue and weird plots and all sorts of odd executions. And I feel bad for most of these actors because they were successful in at first in the X-Men movies. James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence. I want to give Sophia Turner some credit. All the other cast, Evan Peters, Ben Hardy, I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who was Cyclops, the girl who was Storm, Alexandra Sharp or Snarp, Storm, young Storm, not Halle Berry Storm, the other Storm. So her, I want to give her credit. I want to give the guy who's Beast, Hank McCoy, I want to give him credit. I want to give all these actors and actresses credit because they started off pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say X-Men First Class was a masterpiece, but at least it kind of had some things I was like, okay, we can kind of go somewhere with this. Days of Future Past proved that point and made it better. And then you had Apocalypse, which is kind of a little bit wonky, but at least it tried. And then this one doesn't feel like it's trying at all. And it's just sad, But you know what? Most likely Disney was going to take this acquisition and then just say, you know what? We're just going to get rid of you. And then we're going to have our X-Men probably 5 years, who knows, years later somewhere. So, yeah. And it's just sad because obviously this is a movie that people are like, yeah, this is going to be bad. So, yeah. You know from the get-go when a movie's bad. But that's it, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed this. So there's any movies, what were your worst movies of 2019? Let me know in the comments below, and let's kind of keep this at a respectful sort of way, because obviously this can lead to a lot of hate, and I'm not trying to promote hate and being very, like, obviously aggressive and angry, but let's try and do this very respectful of trying to say, hey, let's all agree that we hated these movies and we hate other movies, and not trying to turn this into something worse. So as long as we can respect each other, I can respect you, and vice versa. So yeah, but as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please smash the like button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe to us videos every day for a week. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified of new videos, new content every day for every week. I'm gonna try to bring in, like, obviously videos I've mentioned in the past, and I'm gonna basically, what I said my best movies of 2019, I'm gonna say here as well, is that I'm gonna try and bring back, like, hopefully I can fix my Adobe Premiere, fix that again, start editing, start getting good quality videos again, instead of these sort of like odd, very obvious desktop quality videos. So I'm gonna try and do that, like, for the new year, try out new things like comic reviews, get back to the vlogs, do all sorts of fun things, try out maybe unboxings, maybe do collabs. I know a few people, if they're watching, you know who you are, so hopefully they'll hit me up and we'll do something cool, stuff like that. Look out somewhere either later next week or even after New Year's. My most anticipated movies of 2020. I'll make sure I have that done and everything. 2019 was definitely, sure, in film wise, it wasn't the best, but let's face it, for me personally, 2019 was a lot better for many reasons, and people know, some people that are close to me might know why. So I will give that to them, and I thank them, honestly. And I hope that I can expand and hopefully get better and start getting more people to come check this out, because I like putting out my own opinions. I know sometimes they may not be any different, or I may put out reviews that it's already been done before, but I will take requests. It's just I have a tendency of, I want to put out my opinion on, like, movies I've always watched and I've grown up with and seen before, and wanted to basically say my own little thing. But I will take requests. I will take suggestions on movies, even if I've never heard of them whatsoever. I won't mind doing that, because then it gives myself a fresh opinion on something. And even if it's something that's never been, not even a movie that's been reviewed, like, for example, my friend Jesse told me about Silent Force. So I will give him props to that. So thanks a lot, honestly. I know I give him crap because I don't know what it is. I joke with him because I give him crap. So, but seriousness though, I do give him props for that. I do like that I got a suggestion on that, and he said that, hey, this is a movie that no one really talks about so much, so give it a shot. And I said, okay, cool. So I will do stuff like that. But let's face it, we're in a world of all sorts of films that have already been said and done before, that I'm going to personally want to be like, not hold a special place, but say, like, hey, I want to talk about this movie because I grew up with this, or I love this, and stuff like that. Kind of I want to keep, let's put it this way real quick, because I'm probably don't want to drag this out too much, but real quick, this is going into the new year. I plan to make my reviews 50% of what I've watched or I've seen before, or I just watched, like, maybe like just a second ago, or maybe a minute or an hour ago, and it's a movie that I've wanted to talk about for a while, put my opinion in, because maybe I like this movie or I hate this movie, and I want to explain why. And then the other half will be of anything you guys request, anything you guys suggest, I will take, watch it, and then review it, and there you go. And I hope you guys are happy about that. Same goes for games. It's mainly going to be stuff I've bought, but I'm also going to try and take requests to maybe talk about some games, maybe go into gaming. Top 10s is no exception. Movie news, awesome news is no exception. Speaking of awesome news, I I might. I'm debating on doing it because obviously this is sort of a new topic now in media, and that's Deadpool 3 and then Venom 2. I want to talk about those. So kind of put my thoughts, maybe. We'll see. You have to wait and see. We'll find out. Obviously there's Spider-Man 3, the new Spider-Man 3 for the MCU that's people talking about. So that's could be another video I might want to talk about. But like I said, 50% of my videos are gonna be stuff that I'm gonna want to do. So because I want to be able to put out things I want to say, but I'm not gonna exclude from you guys. So bring on all suggestions. Bring on anything, whether it's requests, suggestions, comments, questions. Heck, if I get enough viewers, maybe enough fan base, we'll do Q&As. Maybe I'll start doing live streams, start getting all sorts of new things, all that good stuff. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, those of you that have actually stuck around and kind of been there for me, at least. And I'll see you next time.